Okay, so are you ready for another DC Multiverse unboxing? This one is Midnighter from Mcfarlane Toys, and here's the artwork on the back. Now, a lot of the times when I do these videos, I'll demonstrate their articulation by saying that he can do the splits, no problem. Well, this one beat me to the punch. He's doing the splits, no problem, on the artwork on the back. So that's what that side looks like. That's what that side looks like. It says DC Classic. Although I don't know if DC Classic is the right term necessarily, because he's a Wildstorm character from the 90s. You know, like this DC, technically a DC character, and the DC bought him out. Now, yeah, I know you could say that about such characters as Shazam, Captain Marvel, or Blue Beetle, or any number of other characters, Black Hawk, that DC's acquired over the years, Plastic Man, Phantom Lady, whatever. But I don't know, man. It's I think the thing that bothers me about the Wildstorm characters being integrated into the DC universe proper is that the best characters in Wildstorm are basically pastiche versions of Superman and Batman, and DC already has Superman and Batman. This guy is, pastiche version of Batman, by the way, in case you couldn't guess. So yeah, and not only that, but DC has their own pastiche version of the Authority in the Elite. So it seems to me like both of those universes have those characters covered. They don't really need to have all these characters coexisting in the same universe. Manchester Black does not need to exist in the same universe that the Authority exists in. Midnighter doesn't need to exist in the same universe that Batman needs to exist in. Now, I know that, and somebody's probably going to say this as they're watching, they were able to get some good use out of Midnighter in that Grayson series where Dick Grayson was a secret agent. But still, at the same time, I kind of feel like the Wildstorm characters would be best served being in their own Wildstorm universe that's like a parallel universe to DC. So the other thing that comes to mind when I see Midnighter is I think it was when Garth Ennis was going to write that Midnighter, was it a miniseries or an ongoing series? I forget. But Garth Ennis was going to write it, and somebody asked him, some people criticize that Midnighter is just the gay version of Batman. What's your response to that? And he said, I thought Batman was the gay version of Batman. So shout out to my friend Alex Wright, who just the other day had posted a piece of artwork that he'd done with the Authority in it. And it reminded me, oh yeah, I've got this action figure I can still open up. Now, I've got a whole box over here of the Crisis Wave from the Mcfarlane website exclusive. So, but I don't want to open one of them today and maybe another one tomorrow, and then the other two next week. I want to do them all one day, da 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 da. So my plan is today I'm going to open Midnighter, and tomorrow, if I open a figure at all, it's either going to be, did I have him over here? He might still be over there. It's either going to be Steel or Martian Manhunter, because I still have those to open. And then on Monday, I think I'll open Martian Manhunter first, and I have a reason for that. And you'll understand when I get to the episode where I'm going to talk about that. So I might do Martian Manhunter first. But yeah, today's Friday, right? Yeah, Friday. All right, so today is Midnighter. Tomorrow will be Martian Manhunter, classic Martian Manhunter. Then Monday, I will open Psycho Pirate. Tuesday, I will open the Spectre. Wednesday, I will open Kid Flash. And then finally Thursday, I will open Superman. And then that Friday, I will open Steel. And then Saturday, I'll have something else to open for you if I open anything on Saturday at all. But I'm gonna try to open Martian Manhunter tomorrow, and if not, he'll get pushed back to next Saturday. I've been sitting on a Martian Manhunter figure for like well over a year, so I need to go ahead and open it. Anyway, that's my plans coming up. I've also got a lot of other cool stuff to open here. I've got this vintage card version of the neck of Frankenstein. It glows in the dark, very cool. And up here, you might have already noticed, I finally got around to getting the NECA 2-pack of the movie versions of Splinter and the Shredder. These are my first not my first NECA Ninja Turtles, but the first ones at least of the movie line. So set that back aside. Anyway, now that we've gotten all that preamble out of the way, I might as well just say, make sure you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below before we get started. All right, let's go ahead and open them up. And I have no idea who these people are that he's fighting on the back. It looks to me like some kind of cyborgs or something. And I don't know what series this is from. It does look kind of like the artist that was drawing the Authority in the first year. Was that not Gary Frank, the other guy that draws kind of like Alan Davis. Drawing a blank on his name. That did Ultimates. I'm actually a big fan of his work, so I'm sad that I'm forgetting his name. I like his artwork. So one of his batons started to kind of come loose in the package. So I'm going to go ahead and take out those batons. And then the other accessories that he has are a couple of closed fists. He's got 2 open hands on the figure so he can hold those batons. I bet this guy holds a lot of batons, if you know what I mean. Well, at least he holds Apollo's baton. They were married in the original continuity, and when they did the New 52, they decided that they weren't going to have them be married anymore, and that really disappointed me, because like that was probably one of the first gay marriages you ever saw in a comic book, so that was something kind of like memorable. If you did that these days, a lot of people would whine that you were being woke or whatever, but you know, back then it was just kind of like a thing where you're like, oh, cool, that's never been done before. Yes, Apollo and Midnighter were gay lovers. They were kind of, parody characters, pastiche characters, however you want to put that, based on Superman and Batman, and they made them gay lovers. So there you go. I guess if they had their version of The Dark Knight Returns, it would wind up being like spousal abuse or whatever. So there he is out of the package. And let's go ahead and look at the trading card and the stand. And they are unfortunately on 2 separate bubbles. And can I get it loose without damaging the trading card? Ho ho! There we go. So there's the trading card. Same piece of artwork as what we had on the back, only it's a much more up close look. They cropped the artwork a bit so that the focus is more on Midnighter than it was before. And then he comes with the standard DC Multiverse stand with the black embossed logo on there. As much as like I said, I was kind of critical of the idea of the Wildstorm characters being part of the main DC universe, I am glad that DC wound up buying the characters. I do enjoy those characters because it gives me the opportunity to have things like this very nice action figure of this character. And I'm a huge fan of Batman, so I like seeing different interpretations of the character as far as like pastiche versions. And with a character like Midnighter, you can do things with Midnighter that you can't necessarily do with Batman. And I'm not just talking about him being like into dudes, but but he can be a bit more violent and brutal, and doesn't necessarily have to be like such a fine, upstanding role model as our boy here. Like where people are kind of critical of Ben Affleck for being kind of needlessly brutal in some areas. Nobody's ever said Midnighter was needlessly brutal. I'm just saying. It's like, I guess because he's not the real Batman, you don't have to hold him to such a high standard. But when my friend Alex had posted the image, and I posted the picture back of the action figure, I'm like, oh yeah, I have this action figure. I still need to open it. He was kind of disappointed that he wasn't wearing leather pants. And I don't know, I can't tell whether they're leather pants or not, but they're certainly not black leather pants. And in fact, I kind of feel like this shade of gray is like way too light for Midnighter. I think I probably would have rather they gave him black pants. I guess they could be leather, though, if you want to imagine that they're leather. He did say that most gay characters probably should have knee pads. It's not homophobic that he said it. He's gay. Don't worry. It's cool. It's cool that he said it. So one thing I like about this figure, just upon first glance, is how the shape of his boots are actually kind of Batman-esque. Not shaped like Batman's boots necessarily, but they still have kind of a Batman shape to them, with like the almost like the bat symbol, like the head of the bat symbol. So that's kind of cool. And then of course he's got the straps on his trench coat sleeves that kind of evoke the fins on Batman's gloves. I mean, I could hold this one up just as easily because I've got him available. But but yeah, this is what I'm talking about with that gray being too light. Is here we have Batman from a children's cartoon, and even he's got a darker gray than Midnighter has. So I might wind up repainting that to be either a darker gray or a true black. Maybe I might do that. I don't know. But he does have a really cool utility belt with it's got a leg strap with the pouch, but the pouch isn't actually attached. I guess because they don't want to interfere with the articulation. But it's supposed to look like it's attached. It could be a holster. It's kind of vaguely shaped like a holster. He's got over here a rope on the side of his belt, just like first appearance Batman would have. And even like I think it's supposed to look like it's torn, but even like the trench coat is kind of scalloped in a Batmanish kind of way. I don't know though. It is the sort of thing where, like, I guess in as a character in the proper DC universe, Midnighter is supposed to be like inspired by Batman in some way, because surely Batman would have been around longer than Midnighter in the proper DC universe. But I kind of feel like in the Wildstorm universe, he at least would have been like more of a unique character who just kind of came up with his own identity, rather than being a guy who's like, I'll make myself kind of like Batman. You know, I mean, like if you're gonna copy somebody, copy the best. So I don't have a problem with somebody copying Batman, but it does make him a little bit less unique, like I said, in his own universe, which is unfortunate. And also, Midnighter tends to be more popular, I think, than Apollo, but I do think that hopefully at some point Mcfarlane is planning on putting out a figure of Apollo. Like to me, you got to have those two guys together. It's like peanut butter and jelly, bacon and eggs, politics and corruption. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, you gotta have Apollo and Midnight in there. So Apollo in there with Midnighter is what I meant to say. So hopefully they've got him coming, and hopefully they do him with the long hair. I think he looks better with the long hair personally, but sometimes they draw him with shorter hair and some of the more modern stuff. New 52. What were you thinking? So unfortunately, when I put the baton in his hand, it turns out it's so heavy. It actually, since this wrist is kind of loose, it pulled the whole thing down. So it's going to be kind of a challenge to pose him properly holding these batons. But I think one way you could do it would be to kind of, if I can get it to do like that. kind of twist this around somewhat. I don't know. And plus, his baton is kind of bent. His baton kind of leans to one side. This is not a show for kids. All right, let's move on. But that's what he looks like holding the accessories. I'm going to pull those back out, so we're going to talk about his articulation. All right. So, Midnighter can look up about that far. Not a bad range of motion for looking up, but not the best. He can look down about that far. That's a bit better. Tilts his head kind of quizzically to the side. Head, of course, rotates all the way around, and you can move it in any which direction, as we've already seen. So his arms rotate at the shoulders. He does have these shoulder pads, but the good thing about these is the shoulder pads are actually attached to the shoulder rather than to the arm part of the shoulder rather than the torso part of the shoulder. So it doesn't interfere with his articulation at all as rotation there. However, it does, I think, kind of hinder it somewhat when you go to put his arms up. That's about as far up as his arms can go that way. His arms can rest at his side about that far. Again, he's got like this separate piece for the trench coat, so that does kind of interfere with that somewhat, but you know, it is what it is. So he does have the double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get on the elbows. Pretty good, I think. And then, of course, he's got a bicep swivel, so his bicep rotates all the way around. As I mentioned, he's got those cool Mcfarlane ball joints at the wrist. Unfortunately, where the hand attaches to the ball joint, you can see it's like ridiculously loose. Like I'm not putting hardly any effort into rotating that hand around. So ridiculously loose. I'll have to see if maybe I can tighten it up somehow. Maybe put a little bit of glue in there and kind of spin it until it dries. But he does have the cool Mcfarlane torso articulation. You can move his torso any which way. That's about as far back as you can bend him, again, because of the trench coat. But what would Midnighter be without his trench coat? He's got to have his trench coat. He can kick forward about that far. Not too bad. That's about par for course for these Mcfarlane figures. He might be able to bend it a bit forward if he didn't have the rubber trunk piece, but of course he does have that. He does have a thigh swivel, which you don't often see on Mcfarlane figures. I don't know why you don't often see them on Mcfarlane figures, but there you go. He's got a thigh swivel, so that's nice. And double joint knees, he bends about that far at the knee. You know, I kind of wonder now if maybe Midnighter shares some parts from that, I don't know, what was it, a Future State Batman, the one with the short sleeves? You know the one I'm talking about? I wonder if he shares some parts with that. It might be worth buying it and looking into it and seeing if that's the case. Because that would explain why his boots are so Batman shaped. And again, I don't mean shaped like Batman's boots. I mean shaped like Batman. Speaking of which, there's no boot cut, but he does have the Mcfarlane ball joint. He can bend his ankle downward about that far, bend his ankle upward about that far, which is actually pretty good considering how he's got this kind of clunky armor on his feet. And then, you know, since on the ball joint, you can swivel this around any which way and get it into pretty much any pose you want to. So that's pretty cool. And that's about it for the articulation. So this figure was an exclusive to Target, and I got mine when it was on sale. I haven't seen them in a while, so I guess they might be out of them by now. But you might be able to still find one for a good price if you look. Come to think of it, this does look an awful lot like the belt that the Spin Master Batman had that was based on that kind of future state looking Batman. So yeah, I'm starting to suspect that's the case. He probably shares a lot of parts with that, probably reuses a lot of parts for that. But I will say, I do think that those parts probably work better on Midnighter than they did on Batman. I don't really like Batman wearing like regular trousers. I think that's kind of strange. But Midnighter can wear whatever kind of pants he wants to. Although Alex Wright says that it should probably be leather pants, and far be it for me to disagree with him. I think I'm going to have to defer to his judgment on that. So yeah, leather pants, You got it. There we go. So I might go ahead and buy one of those Batman figures just so I can compare it. And since I do think it might have darker pants, I might just swap out the whole lower half of the figure. Who knows? So, but that's pretty much it for Midnighter. Oh, I do want to mention that there's some interesting detail to this face, almost like they tried to sculpt in some stubble, but it looks almost kind of like it could be like pock marks or something. But he's kind of a rough-looking dude. He kind of reminds me of Billy Zane a little bit. Better listen to your friend Billy Zane. So, but yeah, good figure. I like it. I'm glad I have it, and hopefully they'll put up Apollo because those two guys belong together. Gotta have Apollo with Midnighter. So that's pretty much it for Midnighter. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure you like and subscribe. I'll leave stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you don't want to miss any of the stuff I was talking about upcoming, make sure that you hit the little bell, and that'll warn you anytime I'm going live. So you can tune in and interact with me in the chat if you want to. So yeah, tomorrow, if I do a video tomorrow, I'll be doing the Martian Manhunter, and then next week I'm gonna get onto those Crisis figures, and then the week after that, I've got so much stuff piling up. I've got the final 3 figures in the Arkham set that Mcfarlane did like a year ago. You might remember I opened Catwoman a while back. Long time viewers will remember when I opened the Arkham version of Catwoman from the Arkham games. But I finally got Batman and the Penguin and Ra's al Ghul. So I'll be opening those the following week. I got so much stuff. And the Frankenstein, and the Splinter and Shredder 2-pack, and Steel, and I got a whole big stack of Mcfarlane stuff. And all those G.I. Joes I got in. But I'm waiting to open the G.I. Joes until I have all of those G.I. Joes. As it is right now, I have the retro card versions of Duke and Rakondo. I have Quick Kick. I have Airborne. I have the Techno Viper. So I'm still waiting on the retro carded version of Scarlet. And what was the other one I'm waiting on? Oh yeah, the 60th anniversary Action Soldier. So once I have those in, that's probably when I'm going to get back on the G.I. Joe kick. But then again, I've got more G.I. Joes over here that I can open anyway, because I still have oh god, what was that guy's name? Ghost Spider. I still have Ghost Spider, and I still have Barbecue, the classic colored Barbecue. So I'll be opening him up, having him park the car in the garage. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. We will talk to you next time. Bye.